So we didn't even know to look for anything, and she had all these things going on, and no doctors ever put it together. So she walked on her toes when she was 3. Started walking on her toes. No one ever thought, oh, it's no calcium, and it's causing her muscles to get really tight, and brought her up on her toes. So she had minor learning issues. She's never really had the bone growths. She never had that. You know, she has the one finger that's shorter, but it didn't show up till she was like, you know, a little bit older in elementary. We noticed it, and we're like, huh, that's kind of weird. Yeah. But no doctors, and she saw an orthopedic doctor when she was in 2nd grade. She has the very round head. Yeah. He missed it. He missed all, and he was casting her for her walking on her toes. Yeah. And she has the toes are different. And he's an older. I'm not saying. He was an older doctor.
If you haven't seen it,
he missed it. And when we finally got diagnosed at 12, which we wouldn't even have been diagnosed had my doctor, her pediatrician, not said, we're just going to do a random blood draw, just to get a baseline for her to be a teenager. And they called me the next day and said, you've got to go to the hospital. Because her calcium was so low. Oh my gosh, she never had a seizure. She never had issues with any, we had no clue. And no one, we went to a geneticist. No one in my family has it, down our whole family line. So we didn't, and then all these little things that she had all connected. She got tested at school, and her learning was like all over the place, like really good in some areas, not in others, okay in others, and they always called her their little question mark. Because they could never put a label on what was causing her learning issues. And so it was all just this, you know, but we were told that the growth hormones wouldn't have worked on her anyways.
Yeah, and we really aren't clear as to whether or not if you are not growth hormone deficient, does it help?
4'9". Okay. Yeah, and they said when she went at 12, they did her bone testing, and they said your growth plates are almost closed. You probably won't grow anymore. You know, bad. You know, so we were like, man, if they'd have caught this, maybe we could have done. And you know, we don't know. And they say that sometimes the growth hormones don't work. That's what I've heard.
The growth hormone, so the kids respond normally to growth hormone. There's no problem with the growth hormone receptor, but it's that if someone makes enough growth hormone, it doesn't make it. If I gave growth hormone just to any person, it won't. People will come in and be like, I want to be 6'5", and I want to play. I'm a good basketball player. I literally have had someone. My son will go to the Olympics for swimming unless he can get to be taller. Like first of all, I don't treat for athletic performance. I actually got yelled at because I wouldn't give someone growth hormone for their sport. But secondly, giving growth hormone to someone who makes growth hormone normally doesn't necessarily make them grow taller. You know, if you have enough, your body doesn't necessarily then it's not like, oh, if I give you more, you grow more. So that's the case with these kids is some of them make plenty, so then we don't know if giving more would help or not. And that's still that's sort of what's iffy, and some of what Dr. Jermaine Lee was trying to study, and I eagerly await her results to see does she have any evidence that it really made a difference, because then we could argue for maybe trying to treat it. But some kids don't make enough growth hormone, and then, no doubt about it, if you give it back, it helps.
Yeah.
And the earlier you get diagnosed, the bigger window of time.
Yeah, and us, it was too late. I mean, regardless, it was too late.
The good part about the ossifications is it's one of the best ways that you get diagnosed. Because there's very few other things that do that. So usually the kids who get diagnosed the fastest have those because a dermatologist biopsies it. There's sort of no other explanation. Yeah. Yes. And the kids that don't have it, oftentimes it takes longer to put it together because you've got to take the
she never has had any of those, so ever, you know, so it's kind of like
someone has to look at the fingers and notice that or piece together the thyroid.
We changed to a new orthopedic doctor, a much younger doctor, and he's like, looked at her and he's like, they're like warning things should have been going, little bells should have been going off, like round head, finger, toe, you know, just he's like short stature. He's like, for me, he's like, I have recognized that and learned it, but you know, I don't know.
The short stature I actually think is a hard one because I think some people ignore kids because they're not short, and as you guys have seen, a lot of the kids are really tall when they're younger. They just stop growing.
Yeah.
So I I try to preach that that short stature is an adult short stature. They're not necessarily short when they're kids, because I think that's another way that doctors miss it, is we get taught short stature. So you see a kid who's at the 95th percentile and you don't think this disease. So adult short stature, you teach everybody that they don't have to be short when they're kids.
I saw an endocrinologist for hypothyroidism. And she saw her toes were sort of webbing together, so we saw a genetic doctor. Nothing was wrong. Saw a neurologist, nothing was wrong. Saw orthopedic, nothing was wrong for 4 years. Left that hospital, went to Children's, the same endocrinologist saw her at Children's in 2014 and diagnosed her by her features.
Yeah.
But she didn't catch her 4 years ago.
It's hard. I mean, it can be really hard to piece it all together. And it helps if you've got people that have seen it before, and it helps that you guys are out there on the internet, because then someone that's sort of like searching for something can sometimes find it.
So the most accurate way the genetic test to confirm it?
So, yes and no. I mean, if you have a genetic test that's positive, that sort of, yes, that confirms it. And that's really and particularly in the little tiny kids, it's really helpful. I mean, by the time the kids are school age, by the time you're having problems in school and the shortening of the fingers and the parathyroid hormone that's going up, and by the time you have multiple hormone problems and other physical features, it can be a pretty decent slam dunk. But the earlier people are picked up, the harder that is to make that diagnosis, because a lot of the features become more obvious as you get older. No, the babies aren't born with shorter fingers, and usually they're not born with a calcium problem. So it's really hard to pick this up in a baby unless they already had a sibling, so we need to look for it. So really the babies are usually picked up because they have ossifications, because that can start in infancy.
I can tell you that the only symptom that Jordan had as an infant was that her TSH was just slightly elevated, not even enough to treat. So they said, oh, maybe that's just her normal. You know, she's just outside, but maybe that's just her normal. But over the years, it just kept climbing, little by little by little, because I would, monitor every 3 months.
And the newborn screening for congenital hypothyroidism has helped us, I think, pick up kids, because a lot of the kids, the vast majority of the kids will fail the newborn screening, and that at least gets them to an endocrinologist, and then there's a chance the endocrinologist will pick it up in that first year, or so we'll figure it out. But if nothing else, over the time, like the longer you're followed by an endocrinologist, the better the chances that someone will. Most of them will piece it together. So
that was maybe was normal, and then 3 months she was giant.
All I'm doing is nursing her. She's just big.
Yeah, so most kids,
6 months. I'm like, okay, we'll send you.
most kids, if I see a kid who's gaining weight really rapidly at an early age and has a slightly elevated TSH, I'm going to worry about this. And all my colleagues know too.
I had to keep pushing, and like, there's something going on here.
But, so yeah, most kids will gain a lot of weight by the time somewhere between that 6 months and 2 years. It's hard now because there's so much weight gain in the general population that so if you talk to the older doctors, they'll talk about, like, if we saw, their sort of rule was, if there was a smaller, heavier kid by the time they were 2, they'd always think about this because there's so few things that would make a kid gain a lot of weight when they were really little. It's a lot harder now as someone who does work on early onset obesity. It's so darn common that these kids don't stand out like you would think. Now they often stand out in their family. So that I think people should take seriously when you say, my last baby didn't do this, and I swear I've fed other children before, and I'm feeding this one the same amount. Why do they gain weight so much easier? But it's hard because 17% of our kids in America are obese, so it's harder for the kids with a real reason to sort of.
I was just told I was overfeeding her.
Yeah.
But yet my oldest is a twig, and then my middle one's like average. I'm like, so I'm starving him and overfeeding her, and they never pursued it early on. She went from, she was little and then just giant, you know.
That's how we
It's always
were
the mom's
too.
fault.
Yes, it used to make me so angry.
So I will say, as mental luck, no matter what, this is the only group of people that can actually say that they gain weight without eating much. I mean, it's literally the only thing. Like, these kids really do.
For being hungry all the time. Like when she was a baby, I could just feed her and she would cry. Would never do nothing about
You
it.
mentioned that before, that some people do have excessive like hunger and some don't. Just show of hands in this room, is that an issue for you?
Hunger.
That's hunger.
And that's,
Kaylee switches. Like there's sometimes she's really hungry and wants to eat, and then there's sometimes you can hardly get her to eat at all. You know, and it's
I think that my impression is that's one of the things
Is that how
that
you
may
are?
get better over time too. But we don't know. But yeah, it is not clearly a group of kids that have extreme hunger. So when we compare them to other genetic disorders, they don't have the issues that we see. Yeah, Prader-Willi is the farthest, is one of the farthest, and then they sort of step down, and they're pretty similar. It's pretty similar to other kids, with some exceptions. But I think you pay attention to what they're eating because it's so easy. And what is hard is and it's similar to Prader-Willi. So I'll often suggest people check out Prader-Willi websites, just because similarly Prader-Willi kids also have a really slow metabolism. Eventually, when they get older, they get slow, so they need a lot less calories than the average person. So they can be a helpful place to look for like diet plans and whatnot. Because the hard thing is if you go to a dietitian, they tend to tell you to eat more calories than the kids should. Because they're going to tell you what an average 12-year-old girl who's this tall should eat, and these kids will gain weight on that.
oh, we went and seen two, and Kaylee gained weight on.
Yeah, they'll gain.
I said we went and seen two different dietitians, and Kaylee gained weight. Well, she was on this strict diet from them.
So we've got the little mice that have the same disorder, and you can do what's called pair feeding. So you can have that mouse eat the same amount of food as a mouse without it, and they're eating the same food in the same amount at the same time, and the little mouse with PHP gains weight. So it's great for a mouse. I mean, it means he's a very efficient mouse. Right. It's hard for us because we don't have to be efficient.
I think what's also kind of challenging is that just general exercise can be difficult because with hypoparathyroidism, these kids tire easily.
Yeah, we don't understand.
And then the motor skills.
It's like
So for Jordan, she only has two toes on each foot that touch the ground. So it's balance. And then after walking or exercising for increased amounts, she starts complaining of pain. So you just have to be careful, with the amount that you can actually. Swimming tends to be like the best.
Yes, swimming.
The best one.
And I love finding things that the kids can do because we know that they already have a slower metabolism than average. So anything we can do to get them more muscle because you can only restrict eating so much.
Right. So then you run into, I don't know if anyone else experiences this with swimming and with hypothyroidism, dry hair and skin.
Yep.
So the chlorine, you have to watch that because then you'll end up with another problem. Like this one had patches missing, and I'm like, oh, but we just found swimming. So you just have to, yeah.
But it's also the exercise too, like Rebecca, her ankles are so tight. When we were doing OT, they said, and PT, they said that they've never seen anybody, adult, kid, anything as tight from the waist down as her.
Mm-hmm.
And I guess a normal range on your ankle is like 15. When we started, she was a -5. The best they got her was right at a 0. And then they couldn't get her any looser than that. So I mean, like walking yesterday, she did really good. She handled it. She wasn't, her feet hurt, but I mean, everything.
Right.
Hurt
My feet hurt yesterday too.
So I told her, like, you got the ankles, the legs, and she really wasn't complaining, but I mean, that's getting her to even exercise. So.
that's how it is with Kaylee because she has the deposits in one of her ankles, just one of them, and it rubs it's right where her tongue of her shoe is. So we've tried inserts, like the gel inserts. I mean, we can't find anything that helps her.
When we get a year ago, she was walking on her toes.
When she went to PT, initially she was at, one leg was at -8,